Good evening, everyone.
Good evening, everyone. So glad you guys joined us on tonight for Gray Area.
The prayer for Gray Area. God, please open my mind to new ideas, possibilities, and perspectives. Give me the ability to discern the truth. Help me connect with others despite our differences. Let me not lean on my own understanding. Lord, we invite you into this conversation. Have your way.
Okay, so I'll go right into the Gray Area introduction. Have you ever thought to yourself, what is God's perspective on my situation? Does it align with His? Do I see things the way God wants me to? Introducing the Gray Area. The Gray Area is designed to challenge your thinking. Many times we don't realize it, but the way we're raised, the things our parents taught us, school, society, and life experiences all play a part in how we think and perceive things. Perception is everything. We're both mothers, wives, daughters, friends, ordinary women, yet our one goal, our one desire is to please God, integrate His ways and His perspectives into our lives. This isn't always easy, especially when we've been programmed to think a certain way. However, God has purposed us to challenge ourselves and others on their belief system. Does it align with His? We often try to see things black and white, wrong and right, good and bad, but this thing called grace and love does not allow us to see things so simple. Everyday conversations, discussions, and situations through the lens of God is our prayer. We invite you to listen to our conversation and chime in. Perspective matters. So tonight we're really excited about today's topic. If you have a comment or something that you want to add to today's discussion, all you have to do is hit *6, and we'll see you in the queue, and we'll be able to take your call from there. So I'm going to go right ahead and set the table. Kishore and I, a few days ago, was talking about success and just talking about how if we feel like we have achieved that level of success, and I think that this is something that many of us have thought about once or twice, a couple of times throughout the year, just trying to measure where we are to where we ultimately want to be. And so I know that success is a relative question, meaning that, what success means to me may not be what it means to Kishore or the next person. But really what I ask myself is, do I really think that success is attainable? And I know that sounds like a very simple question, but there are some people out there who may feel like I can never be a millionaire or I can never, attain a certain level. And so, through that conversation kind of got me thinking, what stops us from thinking that we can get to that level? Like, what kind of gets in the way in between? So tonight's Gray Area question is, what is success? And is it attainable? Kishore, what are your thoughts about that?
So, when we had that conversation initially, when we were kind of figuring out where we stood as far as our scale of success, and then I think we had to backtrack and kind of figure out what exactly is success. And I would say my definition for success, and this is just what I have always thought about when I really think about success, I always think about it as how can I sum it up? You are what you do. I don't know if let me try to explain it a little bit better and clearer to what I mean. A long time ago when we started talking, we spoke about John Gray, and he made this statement in one of his, when he was going back and forth, and he was just saying something to the effect of, don't get it twisted, I'm a pastor, I'm a husband first, and then I'm a pastor. Don't get confused of, what I am and then what I do. And for me, that kind of took me back, because when I think about success, I always think that when you've really fully succeeded in your life, you are what you do. There's no line in between who you are and what you do. So if you are, I guess I always put my husband, who he really loves cars, and I always say he might not be where he is as far as finances go, but as far as being like, he doesn't stop. He is like, he loves cars, and he can get up 3 o'clock in the morning and start working on a car or thinking about a car or buy a car. It's always, and it never stops. It always is continuous. So I don't know. For me, when you can find that joy and it doesn't end, so it's like a continuous, and I guess we'll unpack that a little bit more, but for me, I would think that is my definition of success. When you can fully, there's no, you can just do what you do 24/7, and there's no end to it, and I don't know. But that's my definition.
No, I agree with that. It took me a while to kind of get to, I guess a true perspective on my end of what success is. And I don't know if that kind of grew with maturity. If you asked me this question when I was 17 or 18, I would have kind of correlated success with maybe money. Yep. Or, success I would have correlated with the kind of job and having a house and a car. And one of the things that I think I had said to you before is, and I know success is relative, and I do want to hear from different people because, we are probably all in different places in our walk. But, to one person, they may see that because I'm married and I have a house and I have children and I have a college degree, I'm just using that as an example, as me reaching or attaining a level of success. But for me, that's not how I would look at or measure my level of success. I still think that for me, that's something that I'm still trying to attain. You know what I mean? And so I definitely think over time my perspective on what success is has changed. And looking at the kind of thing that you spoke about was that, like, that joy. I, for me, cannot wake up every day to something that I don't enjoy. Even if I could be making millions of dollars, I think that for me, success, like you said, it has to be a balance between the two. I have to feel like what I do matters. I have to have a love for it. There has to be a joy kind of internally that matches with the money and all of the other things that I talked about prior.
Yeah. I think societally, I don't even know if that's a word, but I think we have kind of tried to put a measurement on success and not, there's a standard or there's like a specific definition for what success equals. Success to, I think the majority or what society tells us equals money. I don't think they always equate success with happiness, and they don't always equate success with individuality, that it varies from person to person. Yeah. I think they equate it as this one standard definition when in reality it varies very drastically from person to person. So right. I think that, yeah.
No, I was just agreeing. I think, one of the things that people say, and it's not like you mentioned that your husband, who's an entrepreneur, he kind of lives and breathes what he's supposed to do. And, sometimes I think sometimes I think we look down on people who maybe clock in like a 9 to 5, or that person that sweeps the floor at Wendy's. And what I'm trying to tie in is that I also feel like in life we all have our mark of where we're supposed to be doing. And I just think part of this journey is finding out what we're supposed to be connected to. So, for example, I don't think everyone is meant to be entrepreneurs. Like in my theory, like in my own Shanae theory, I don't think everyone is meant to be entrepreneurs. There are some people that are meant to be teachers, and they just have the gift of teaching. And then there's some people that are meant to be police officers. I think that I think the challenge for all of us is finding what that niche is. And I think with that niche, when you find it, then you really find or attain success, because now you're matching the two, if that makes sense. You know what I mean?
No, that makes a lot of sense.
Guys, please, if you have any comments or want to add to today's discussion, we would love to hear different perspectives. Just hit *6 and we'll see you in the queue. But go ahead, Tishore. I'm sorry I cut you off.
Yeah, I was just saying that the problem is that there are a lot of teachers, just going by your example, there are a lot of teachers that are teachers that aren't supposed to be teachers, that, that was an expectation set for them through, their parents probably, or, or a family member, or just what they thought they should do. I think that's where the problem come in, because when we have like teachers who are meant to be teachers, you could see a difference. Those teachers cultivate and breathe, other things in the classroom. They breed doctors and lawyers and entrepreneurs, but then there are teachers in there that aren't supposed to be in there. There are teachers in the teaching that's supposed to be bankers. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And bankers that are supposed to be teachers. And I think that is where the problem, a lot of our problems come in, because, and we spoke about it last week a little bit on regrets, and where people end up at the end of the road where they're saying that I wish I didn't live somebody else's expectation for me. I wanted to live out what I wanted to be and do what I wanted to do. But a lot of times we are living someone else's expectation, falling into that trap of, that, okay, I'm going there and it's just a job for me, and I think that's also where the problem comes in, so I think it's just really important. Yeah, I think it's really important for us to just really search, ourselves and find out, am I where I'm supposed to be? Is what I'm doing, do I find real joy in it? Do I feel real passion in it? For me, just a quick example, I was even saying to myself when I started, and I think I used this example, I was talking to my sister, and I was telling her that, a lot of people, follow the suit and the tradition of their, like, family. Like, you'll see, like, a lot of police officers, they'll come up in rank because their father and their grandfather was a police officer or a teacher or a lawyer or whatever. Yep. And she was saying that that's not true for us. And I said, well, it's not true for us for the specifics, but it's true for us in the sense that our parents set this expectation as far as where we ought to be. And it's not wrong. I think that's also what gauged us to this or propelled us to where we are right now. So it's not at all wrong. But in the same breath, we still had to have a standard. I remember when I was going to school and I was choosing my major. And, when I went to school, my dad was there with me. And he said, okay, so what you going to pick for your major? And I said, I'm going to pick theater arts, because I think I want to do drama. I want to study that. And he was like, drama? I'm not going to use his the Jamaican slang. But he said, drama? What do you mean drama? Like, you have to pick something that when you leave school, you could get a good job and have something to fall back on. Now, mind you, I'm very thankful. I picked a major. It was chemistry. I have, a bachelor's in chemistry. And, I went on to do my master's degree. But at the same time, I start to think like, and now I think back, I'm not missing drama at all. But I think back like, what if I did do drama? You know what I mean? Like, where would I be now as far as drama? Would I really be that? Or, how far would I have gone? So, it's just sometimes I think we do live in a certain expectation of what was given to us. So I think sometimes we fall, it's a good thing, and it could be not so good also. That's what I'm trying to unpack.
No, I agree. Once again, guys, if you have a comment or want to offer your perspective, star 6. As you were talking, I was thinking about just, wondering if sometimes people around us limit us to this box of, where we are. Because one of the questions that I wanted to kind of pose tonight under, tonight's discussion is what causes us to kind of settle for mediocrity? Just putting like a general question, like why do you think some people, because we're talking about success, and for some people, why do you think they remain like stuck, or they're okay with just living the minimum, like meaning like just going to work and just, clocking in and clocking out, coming home, and not really trying to tap into kind of what you spoke to or alluded to, their potential? Like, what do you think happens in those circumstances? Because I can say that I know a lot of people around me who get stuck in that mediocrity. And I think that that's what separates us from, I always like to use Diddy as a example. And I think I talked to you about this earlier on the phone, is that I don't think that there's any difference between me and Diddy. And if you don't know, I'm referring to Puff Daddy, or Sean Combs, who is a business mogul, who's also a music producer, fashion. He's done almost everything. And I'm just using him as an example because I've watched him in his interviews, which are so candid and he's so transparent. And, I'm not saying that, all I'm saying is that he is not like any smarter than me, but there is something that he has that he's kind of tapped into that has helped him take it to the next level. So, kind of speaking or alluding to what gets us stuck so that we too don't take things to the next level. Have you ever kind of like thought about it in that way?
Yeah, I think that it's safety. It's safe. It's, people don't want to test the waters. They don't want to see, it's a safety net. Sometimes I think about it too. Like even when I'm at my job, my job that I work in, every time I think like trying to even step out the box, I automatically think like, oh my gosh, my health insurance. Like what would happen if, it's like, it's safe. I have 3 children and I need my health insurance. What if God forbid, it's a safety. I think it's a safety thing that also breeds, fear that limits us from getting to that next level. The thing about Puffy that I admire so much, and I think why a lot of people attach him to being successful because I think it's the money thing and what they can see, like the celebrityism and the fact that he's out there. I'm using another word that's probably not a word, but I think they're attracted to him of what they see. But what I get so attracted to with him is that piece, and I think we spoke about this a little bit earlier, is that when you do find that thing that you're great at, God says in his word that you're supposed to not just have that thing you're great at, but you're supposed to share it with others. And that's why I think he's so successful. You know what I mean? You don't just get that thing or that gift that you're good at, but you have to just, like the custodian. If he's good at cleaning, and he's happy there, that's awesome. But I don't think that he's just supposed to be happy in his school building. I think he's supposed to share that joy of how he's so good to others. I don't think he's just supposed to it's just supposed to stay there. So that's why I think I equate Puffy with success, him specifically, because I feel that he has the ability to not just be successful, but to share his success with others, propel other people and show other people how, and
that is so good.
In different ways. So I really am, I really admire him. So, but we have somebody in the queue. Yeah.
Okay. You want to let them in?
Yep. Hi, caller.
Good evening.
Hi, guys. This is Tommy D.
Hi, Tommy.
I just wanted to tell you how you guys feeling today.
Good.
So I just wanted to mention something about success. Now, I listen to you guys talk about success, and I agree with you guys. But one thing I would like to mention is success is the accomplishment in different areas of your life. Like you could have what you attain, like what you are trying to achieve. And when you get to that place where you're content, that is what is success individually. So most people strive to get successful marriages, successful career, successful in your family life, like in your children. And when you attain the goals that you put in front of you, I think that's what equates to success.
Okay.
I agree with that. Yeah.
I agree. Attaining your goal.
Yep. Because, you think about, thank you, caller.
Thank you.
Tommy. I totally agree with what she said. And you know what, even if we go back to, Puff, and you think about it, and you think about his lifestyle, even him as being a father, and how, you look at his situation and how he's even had other relationships and how he has showed love. I don't know. I think just like we say, too, I think even in our lives, just being like, for me, a good mom, or, a good wife, or, a good person, just in general. I think that equates also to success. But I think that could be balled up into one, too, you know, because I think that when you are doing, I think, something that is authentic and true to who you are, all those things are able to be successful because it's all encompassing.
It's embedded in who you are.
It's embedded, it's who you are. So what you do is who you are. Being a mom, a good mom is who you are. Being a good person is who you are. Being a teacher is who you are. So it all comes out in that one, you know, in that way. So.
And Tommy, thank you for your comment. I don't know if you can hear me or if you can answer this question. I'm wondering if you think if success is something continuous, because you mentioned that it really is pertaining to like attaining a certain goal. So are we like kind of meant to like continuously make these goals for ourselves? Like, is it something that do we ever like arrive kind of? Or is it like this ongoing process until the end of where we're always, you know, designing goals and we're trying to reach them? Or, you know, once we set that goal, we reach it, we've hit the mark, we're now successful. I just want to get your thoughts on that.
Shanae, I'm listening to everything you said. Absolutely. I agree with the second part when you said it should always change. Absolutely. Okay. So successful, like when I was listening to her speak, when she was talking about, you know, celebridom and how she was saying how celebrities...
Tommy?
Yes?
We're not hearing you so well. Can you talk a little closer to the phone?
Can you hear me better?
Yes, it's a lot better.
Okay, so what I was saying is, even with celebrities, if you talk to them, like a lot of times I even speak to doctors or attorneys, and when I speak to them one-on-one, they always tell me that they don't feel like they have met their success, because success is what you personally attain for yourself. So, and your goals are always changing. Just like you spoke about your husband, he could say to himself, all right, well, I love cars, and if I sell a certain amount of cars or I fix a certain amount of cars, this is where I will be on my success level. But when you look from the outside, you're like, wow, he's doing so well. But in his mind, he's probably not as successful as he wants to be. And that can go with each individual. You know, we manage our own success. You know, and it's always a hurdle. You know, we change our margins all the time, you know, right. Where you could even say to yourself, you know, sure, you said, I have a master's degree. You could turn around tomorrow and say, you know, I don't feel as successful as I need to be. And in our eyes, we're thinking, you're full of success. Wow, she's really successful. And you can put those margins even higher and say, listen, this is what I want to attain in myself, and this is where I'm going to be successful.
Wow. Yeah.
Yep.
I agree with that. No, I thank you for elaborating on that. I think that it is something that we probably, you know, and that kind of goes to my challenge as I'm kind of thinking about how to wrap up tonight's conversation, you know, committing to making it continuous. Like, it can't just say, because I guess I asked the question of how do people stay stuck or are okay with mediocrity. It's probably because they reached a certain level or attained a certain goal, and they're like, okay, I got married or I got my degree, I have a good job, and I'm okay. That's it. But
I have a question. Also be with the diagraph, you know, where you live, and that also determines how far you want to go. That's why you see when people are in a certain population and one person makes it out, you're like, wow, how did they do that? Because we're stuck on what we see. If you grow up with a whole bunch of people that works in a school and your goals are to work into a school, you know, we are sometimes stuck in just that little area in which our mind is. We don't know how much further we can go, you know, if we're stuck right there.
And we can't see it, right?
Right.
We can't see it. There's nothing to attain past what you see.
Right. Right. Thank you, Tommy.
Thank you, Tommy. I think you have one more caller, but you wanted to say something in between before you went into it.
I did. I wanted to add to what Tommy said, as far as, you know, a lot of times, and if you could hold 1 second, call, I think a lot of times what's important, I think we need to take stock of, is, are we measuring our success against someone else's? Are we measuring our success based on finding what brings us joy personally, or are we measuring our success on someone else's success, or what we think it should look like?
Yeah,
so, you know, I always think that too, because sometimes we get stuck there like, okay, I met it because guess why I met it? Because now I'm a lawyer like my neighbor, and now I'm making six-figure like my neighbor, so now I'm successful. But are you happy? Do you find joy in what you're doing? So that's a piece too. So I'm going to let the caller in.
Good evening, caller. Can you hear me?
Good evening, caller.
Hi, good evening. Yeah, good evening. I just want to make a comment that I know success is an individual definition, but it's also how others also perceive you. And I think that all of you girls are successful because you're able to take care of yourself. You are not dependent on, even if you don't have a husband, you girls can take care of yourself. And I am proud of you all. So keep up the good work and keep moving along. And remember, the sky is the limit.
Thank you. Thank you, caller.
But that's another, interesting point is just being able to take care of yourself in something so basic when we're looking at it, because unfortunately there are some people who are always leaning on others. So success can be so simple as just your ability to maintain yourself and keep yourself grounded, something so simple.
Yes. Yeah. That's so true.
But kind of like what the caller said, like the sky is the limit, and just thinking about the perception of, you also have to know that you have the ability to obtain what you want. And I don't know if everyone necessarily believes that. I think that there is a process where you have to actually believe that you can obtain these things. Like, in my head, even though I'm not a doctor, I feel like if I wanted to be a doctor and go to medical school, like, I can absolutely do that. But that wasn't my calling, you know what I mean? Like, I think that you have to believe that you have that ability to attain the things that you want. Mm-hmm. So one is the ability to believe. So, did I cut you off, Shore?
No. Actually, I'm glad you even said that, because there is, we always try to find heaven's perspective in everything. And, even with you, just making that comment, there is, God's word is so big and wide. And I think, I have to talk about, there's a part in the Bible that always sticks with me, that he talks about, don't copy the behaviors and the customs of the world, but let your mind be transformed into a new way of thinking. And I think, just because our culture says that we have to be one way and one way equals success, I know that through my relationship with God, he has allowed me to see that it's so much bigger than that. That, it's not what this world confines you to be. Your success, relies on, what I say it relies on. And it's bigger and broader and wider and deeper, and it can impact way more people. It doesn't have to just be right here at what you can see. So I think even just allowing him to, like, consume my thoughts and my mind, I think also has allowed me to be woke. Everybody woke. Sure is woke. Yeah, I'm aware of where the possibilities could be, that, there can be more to this. And just like you said, if you wanted to go to medical school, if you wanted to reach higher, if you wanted to be an astronaut, you could be that. There is no limit to what you could be if you choose to be, that.
It's funny that you said that, because I was, in my final thoughts and, just challenging who is listening to the show right now. We chose this topic because whether it's you who maybe struggle with where you are, feeling like you are not where you want to be, or you're kind of content but not quite sure. Maybe you know someone. We always want to challenge our callers to challenge those around us to just have this conversation and just encourage someone and let them know that to help them to remember that they can do all things through Christ. And that, what you said is what I wrote, is that you define success, not anyone else. So I know many times we look at those around us, we look at money, or we look at jobs, or, maybe things our parents said or loved ones said, or, and sometimes just trying to shed all of that off and really aligning ourselves to what God wants for us, and really trying to align what joy is. And I think, like I said in the beginning of the show, if you do that, I think that you'll find where you're supposed to be. And once you find that, you'll be able to maximize that. And so I think that's really, really, really important. I hope that you guys found tonight's conversation thought-provoking, and keep the conversation going.
Absolutely. Keep the conversation going. And please don't forget to email us with your future topics at thegrayareaconversation@gmail.com. Also follow us on all social media platforms. You can find our link to our podcast on Facebook and on Instagram. We're also on YouTube. So please share, subscribe, and share. And we're just so thankful for you guys and for you guys listening. Have a great night.
Have a great night, everyone.